Hi, welcome to Infusion, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, a.k.a. self-proclaimed power man, and I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey, guys.
Now, today we got an interesting show. We got an herbalist, and she's calling all the way from the UK. Her name is Kate Warlow, and she's going to tell us all about herbalists and what herbalists do and things about different, I'm hoping, different herbs and stuff like that, especially me because I love to cook. Kate, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, so you're an herbalist. What exactly does that entail?
Well, I use plants for their healing properties to help with healing ailments and conditions in the human body. But also, I can use it in animals as well, but mainly humans.
Well, okay, so you use like different herbs. So like stuff like I've been studying this, looking at this stuff. Like there's like you can use like turmeric. I can't say the word.
Turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah, turmeric. And, yeah, green tea and stuff like that.
Yeah, not green tea so much because I'm sensitive to caffeine, so I don't use green tea in my herbal blends. But yeah, generally, many medicinal herbs can be used as foods and vice versa. So I choose which herbs are going to work right for a person's particular condition or their body type, and then we create a blend that will help to heal them with either just a general condition they've got or a specific ailment that they want help with.
So before we go into the generalization into like the herbs and like like diagnosis and stuff like that, maybe we should talk about how you came into it.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have a chronic illness. It's called ME, which is a combination of chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And I was diagnosed in 1995. And I didn't want to go down the route of the allopathic medicine from my doctors because they had no idea how to treat this condition. They still don't, even now, almost 30 years later.
Right.
But all they wanted to offer me was antidepressants and then more and more antibiotics.
Yep, and still today they call it the invisible pain. You know, they call it neuropathy the invisible pain. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I looked to doing a more natural approach, and I first started studying essential oils, and I became an aromatherapist. And then after that, I was recommended different herbs to take. And I love herbal teas. So I started learning more about the herbs that could help me personally, and then really found a passion for this. So I decided to go to university and study to become a herbalist so I can help other people to heal themselves as well.
So how long have you been into? You said you've been in this for 30 years?
I've been ill for almost 30 years. I qualified as an aromatherapist in 1998. I qualified as a herbalist in 2017.
Okay, so you've been doing this for like a few years. But you said like with tea, you don't do green tea because it has caffeine. And so, what kind of teas do you do?
I create my own blends, my own range of organic loose leaf herbal tea blends. They're all caffeine free, but I have a range of relaxing ones and stimulating ones and ones that help balance your nervous system and digestive system, that kind of thing. So I have lots more coming out as well, but ones for nighttime coming out and all sorts.
And you do something that most in the Eastern world, they try to heal the body as a whole, whereas whereas the Western doctors, although some of them are starting to get out of that practice, diagnose you and then heal what you're diagnosed with, right? You heal the body. You heal the body as a whole. Yeah,
so I'm a holistic therapist, and I I look at the whole body in the sense of we're not just treating the individual symptoms like a doctor would. Most doctors are allopathic doctors, and they will just treat the symptoms. Like, okay, you've got like back pain, let's give you anti-inflammatory for that back pain. Whereas I look at someone who's got back pain and say, okay, when did it start? What happened around that time? Was there something stressful, traumatic going on in your life at that point? What else happened? Did you hurt yourself, or did you just come on gradually? Are you generally do you generally feel the heat a lot, or do you feel cold quite a lot? So I look at the whole persona of the almost like creating a blueprint, I suppose, in some ways, of how that element first came about and what they generally are like as a person, to get a more fuller picture of the situation and not just treat the one symptoms that they're coming to me for. We want to look around the background and see where it stems from first. So it's more of a holistic approach where we look at the whole mind, body, and spirit, not just the symptom on its own.
Right. So, you also said you study essential oils. Now, when you're talking about herbs, you're looking at the whole plant and not just the oil of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. With herbal medicine, you're using the whole plant, but with aromatherapy, you just use the essential oils and plant oils like as a base oil. But you're looking at the properties of the essential oil. Whereas with herbal medicine, you are looking at the whole plant and all the different parts of the plant that can actually help in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like I hurt my back a couple of weeks ago, and Rach, she works at a tanning salon, and she told me to do this infrared thing, and I got in it, and my back felt a little better, but also too I've rubbed like she had some like essential oil stuff she got, I think it was Deep Blue from doTERRA that I used on that, and just basically just took it easy, like light exercise, stuff like that, you know.
So what herbs would he also like to contribute to, like back pains? Like, what would you suggest, for people with back pains to, what would they incorporate?
Well, it depends on their constitutional type. So are they a kind of person that feels the heat? It always tends to be more sort of hot than cold all the time. And also the type of pain they're having with the back pain. Is it like a sharp, almost like a spasm they're having, almost like a nervous pain spasm, or is it more a dull ache that just seems to be there constantly, or only when they move in a certain way? So it really depends on the type of pain they're having, and also the type of person they are. As in, like myself, I tend to feel the cold a lot. My husband and I have heating battles this time of year because he's hot all the time, but I'm always cold. So I'm always whacking the heating up, and he's always turning it down. So it's kind of like, if you're more of a person who you tend to feel the heat a lot more, like you tend to feel hot all the time, then having herbs that are going to increase the heat aren't really going to help. They're just going to aggravate you, make you feel irritated. Whereas if you have cooling herbs, like you have something like chamomile, which is an anti-inflammatory, but it was also a cooling herb, that would actually work better for pain, because it will take some of the excess heat out of your body that is being caused by, you're already a hot person, and you've got an inflamed back because of the nerves and the muscles being inflamed from the back pain. Then something cooling is just going to balance that out. Whereas as me, I tend to feel the cold all the time, something like turmeric or ginger is a warming herb which will put heat into my body, which will help then also reduce the inflammation. But because it might be more aching rather than a kind of sharp pain. Therefore, it would just, by warming that area, will get the blood flowing and the circulation going, which will actually heal the sort of stagnation of the muscles being sort of tense and achy. So it really depends very much on kind of what kind of pain, and also the kind of person, the kind of constitution type they are.
Yeah, well, you mentioned ginger. Like yesterday, I do most of the cooking in our household. So yesterday I was making lasagna, and I started getting ginger for my morning smoothie I would make. I used Brussels sprouts, celery, apples, cucumbers, and lime, and also I think spinach. And I blend this stuff up, and I put also ginger in it too. But I've been using ginger a lot more in the meals we make for the kids and stuff like that. Like we made lasagna yesterday, and I cut up some ginger and threw it in there. They didn't taste it, but I know the effects of it, and I know it's really good, really good for you.
It is, yeah. It's a brilliant herb, and it's so easy to use. I would say in a culinary way as well as a medicinal way. It's one of the ones that people are most likely to be able to find in their local supermarket. And you can use it so easily. You can make a tea out of it really easily just by slicing it up and adding hot water. And it has, so many health benefits, especially this time of year coming into autumn and winter. It's really, really great for the immune system and your circulation as well. So yeah, it's a fantastic herb.
Yeah, well, like you said, winter coming up, because we live in Minnesota, and I don't know if you know much about this Minnesota in the United States, but it gets really cold. It gets like below zero, sometimes for like a week or so in,
Wow. Yeah, you definitely walked into them. Warm.
Yeah, it can get crazy. It can get crazy cold here in the winter. That's why a lot of people travel to Cancun and stuff like that. The warm, Florida, the warmer states in the wintertime. But one of the things when you said about your body being hot and cold, does that got something to do with weight? Because when I was a little bit larger before I started working out, I noticed my body was a lot warmer. But then when I lost a few pounds, I know that that's gotten a lot cooler.
Yeah, it does make a difference. So I was the opposite. I was very skinny as a teenager. And I always, wherever I went, I always took a jumper with me, even if it was like really warm day. I always, just in case, had a jumper with me. And now I've put on weight since having kids, and I do find that I don't always need a jumper. Or sometimes I'll take it, and you didn't need to take that with me. I was too hot. So yeah, it definitely does. And my husband said it doesn't make a difference, but he's lost weight in the last couple of years, and I've noticed that he wears jumpers more often than I do now. So that's quite funny. But yeah, it's the extra weight will insulate you more. So it makes more sense really that you're going to be warmer if you are sort of more on the heavier side than if you're on the lighter weight side. Because you haven't got so much sort of insulation really. That fat really just insulates your muscles and your bones and everything, and then you tend to feel the heat more so much if you're overweight compared to being being slimmer or skinny.
Well, like somebody like me who works out, regularly, what would you recommend for something for like the beginning of a workout or something for like the end of the workout?
To help with what particularly?
Well, like I work out with weights, and I also do cardio. I work out about 2 hours a day. About four to five times a week. What would you recommend? Like something before a workout or something after a workout? Would it be better to have tea after workout or?
Oh, I see. Well, it really depends on, as I say, it depends on what effect you're wanting from the tea. Are you wanting something that's going to help to lubricate your joints more, so you get a better workout in the sense you're not going to have that after effect of aching kind of muscles afterwards, or just something to increase your energy levels or sustain your energy levels. It really depends on kind of what the effect is you're wanting to go for before and during or after your workout.
Well, I've noticed like green tea, like we were talking about wintertime. I noticed like green tea, like in the wintertime, really helps. Especially helps. Because also too with wintertime, we're subject to a lot of colds, so it's like trying to get hot stuff in you and stuff like that to avoid cold and flu. That's the cold and flu season. Yeah,
green tea is great. It has lots of antioxidants in it, but also the high caffeine in it sometimes can be too much. If you're already, especially if you're doing poor workouts, you're going to get quite stimulated and blood flow it's going to be quite stimulated during a workout because you're getting your body moving and your muscles also be working harder than normal. So maybe having something stimulating on top probably isn't the best thing to go for, because you can almost, that's why people very often get the jitters after too much caffeine, is because they are already stimulated enough, but then the extra caffeine will make them more stimulated, and that's where you get the jitters. For something, if you're really trying to kind of like boost your immune system, and also working out is going to help that as well, because you're getting the blood flow and the circulation going, which is really, really really good for boosting the immune system as well, getting everything flowing more easily. Then if you're specifically wanting to do something that's actually going to kind of boost your immune system more, then I was just going for something more like elderberry or elderflower or something like that would actually help to it boosts the immune system because it's really high in polyphenols and vitamin C, so it kind of helps that supports your immune system to stop you from getting any colds and flu and that kind of thing, by protecting your inside of your lungs and that kind of thing, to stop you actually stop the bacteria actually settling in your body, so it kind of prevents that. But also it's kind of a little bit of a cooling aspect, so that it doesn't make you too hot or too stimulated during the workout afterwards. It just helps to kind of, so that's probably elderberry tea is probably a good one to take probably after your workout, because it just helps to cool down the body slightly without being too sort of hot and cold from one to the other after cooling down after workout. But it would help to support obviously your immune system as well. So from the different kind of stuff from going from being really, really hot during the workout and then like trying to cool down afterwards. It's a good one to just kind of balance your body gently rather than going straight from hot to cold, like you've had a more cooling herb. So I suppose elderberry is probably a good one to go for.
So, Kate, I have a question for you. So you're saying to get elderberry. For essential oils and for, we had, in past podcast, we had a CBD farmer. With essential oils and the CBD, we have guidelines of how to find the best, right? With herbs, when we're not getting from the produce section, right? It's kind of hard for us to find elderberry in our produce section, right? How do we find the best? Because you don't want to go on Amazon and, I found the cheapest elderberry. You're right. So how do we find the best? I mean, because there's so many companies out there. They got elderberry. Let's pack it down with a bunch of junk, So how do we find the best for us?
Yeah. So, you do have quite a few herbal suppliers in the US. The one that tends to get recommended a lot is Mountain Rose Herbs, and they do dried herbs that you can buy, and then because basically all my teas are made from dried herbs, they're not all made from fresh herbs. So some people have elderberry growing. I mean, I myself personally, I've got elderberry growing around the corner from me, so I go and wild cast it at this time of year when it's gone to berry form, and I put it in the freezer and I make a syrup out of it for the winter. But you can do that from dried herbs, so you don't have to have fresh herbs all the time. So all of my tea blends are made from dried herbs, not fresh ones, also because it helps with, you don't have to worry about preservatives and things and it going off too quickly, because it's a dried herb, then it's less likely to go moldy until you add the water to it. So, so you've got Mountain Rose Herb. I think there's another company called Herbalist and Alchemist. They also sell herbs, and they also sell the elderberry, I think, in the syrup form as well. So really, it's really the best thing if you can't find it locally in elderberry you probably wouldn't find in the supermarket. You'd have to either go to a local farmer's market, somebody there might sell it, or you can wildcraft it, like forage it from your local area, but obviously make sure that you know exactly what it is you're looking for, because it can be similar to other berries. But generally, the safest thing is to go to a herb supplier and actually purchase the dried herbs, and then make your own tea from that. And there's nothing more difficult than just putting a spoonful of the dried herbs into a pot and having hot water, and then letting it infuse for like 5 minutes, and then just drinking it as a tea. And that you still get the full benefit from the elderberry if you had it as a dried herb.
I'm glad you said local herbalist, because when I asked you to be my herbalist, you were like, unfortunately, you can't be my herbalist because you're in UK and I'm in the United States.
You're across the pond.
And there's legalization in that we can't cross, right? So
it's more through that. I can't send tinctures internationally,
right?
Because of it's more of the postage laws in this country. I can't sell alcohol without
right.
a kind of like a liquor license. I can't. Yeah, and the herbalists tend to not get liquor license.
Right.
When it's expensive.
So
yeah.
I'm glad that you brought up the point that people should find their local herbalist, and there's so many good ones out there.
Yeah.
That really truly,
definitely,
truly care about you as your whole body. So
yeah, we have a store here called Present Moments down in Minneapolis. They do have herbalists there that can work with you, and if you tell them, and this is not a paid endorsement for Present Moments.
This is all about Kate.
but yeah, they do got herbalists there, and they will work with you, and depending on what you got, and can try to steer you to the right way. But as far as if people want to get more into herbs and stuff like that, do you got any books or recommend any books or anything to for people to get started?
Oh my goodness, there's so many books on herb medicine. It's just there's like there's thousands of books on herb medicine, to be honest. But the ones which I kind of started with, any by Rosemary Gladstar, are really good ones to start with. She's an amazing herbalist. She's a US herbalist, and she has like a training school as well where you can actually learn to be a home herbalist with her. But she has so many different resources on her website as well. But yeah, she's got quite a good range of books. She's got lots ranging from basic herbal medicine to specific ones for women and children. That kind of thing. So, I think probably Rosemary Gladstar is probably a really good one to start with. But then if you want to get a little bit more involved and a little bit more in depth with it, then Matthew Wood is a really great herbalist as well. Amazing books, which really talk about the energetics of herbs as well and how they work on the different body systems. So if you're really wanting to study to be a herbalist, then his books are also really good to have in your library as well, to give you like the extra kind of advanced information, really.
And if you guys are strongly interested in these books, I'll have Kate text me afterwards, and I'll get these in our information so that you guys can look up these books. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, sure.
So what are some of the best herbs you use? We've been talking about wintertime, and wintertime here in Minneapolis is right around the corner. But what are some good things to help fight cold and flu during the cold and flu season?
The elderberry, and then what else would we hit at?
Well, rose hip's another one, very high in vitamin C. So again, it really helps with like an antioxidant. It really helps to boost your immune system. One of the tea blends I've got it's called I Got Chills, and with that I've got elderberries, rose hip, ginger, orange peel, and star anise in it, and they're really great to kind of, it supports your immune system. So don't just take it kind of like the same with the elderberry. Don't just take it once you're in the full, like you've got a full on cold. Take it when you get the first inkling of a cold. So if you start feeling just a bit bit chilly in your body, and you feel like, I feel like I'm coming down with something, then that's the best time really to start taking the herbs which are great for the immune system, like the elderberry, the rose hips, even ginger tea will also help with that as well. It kind of prepares, it kind of gets in there quick. The sooner you get the herbs into your body, the sooner it can actually start taking effect. And then also, very often, it will reduce the symptoms of your cold, so it doesn't actually become as bad as it would be if you hadn't taken anything at all. So it would actually kind of lessen the symptoms, so you can actually still be able to work with it without being quite so ill, or have it knock you off your feet for like a week with the flu or something. So it's really good to try and sort of get it in there early to just help to support your body, so that it has a chance to balance it out, so you don't actually get the full bad effects of having a bad head cold or whatever. So you actually it lessens the symptoms down, so you don't suffer quite as badly as you would without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember a few years ago, the big thing was echinacea. It was the same thing. You took it before the onset of a cold, and then once you took it for a couple of days, and your cold got past, you were supposed to take it a couple of days afterwards too. But yeah, echinacea was a big thing. But then there was a lot, like Rachel was talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of people marketing stuff saying it was echinacea, but it wasn't the real echinacea.
Yeah, echinacea is there are different types of echinacea, and some of them are medicinal and others aren't. But the echinacea, it's just really good. It will actually help to reduce the symptoms of a cold, and it will shorten the cold as well. Mm-hmm. I've taken it for that purpose many times, and I'm amazed by how quickly actually you feel like you've got a cold coming on, and a couple of days later going, actually, I feel fine now. It's brilliant. So, but yeah, with echinacea, you should only really take it for a maximum of 2 weeks and then have a break, because even though herbs are amazing and they work with your body very often, sometimes you can still build up a little bit of resistance to them if you take them too much. And echinacea is one of those herbs where it's known as a specific herb, which means it has specific actions on the body to help with one thing. And then it's not a good idea to take it long term, because it really is more for an acute thing than the chronic thing. So if you have, like, say, chronic sinusitis, then echinacea wouldn't really work for that. But if you just have a cold coming on, then echinacea is brilliant for that, and it will actually help to reduce symptoms. But also echinacea works really, really well with elderberry as well, because they kind of balance each other in the same blend. So they're really great to take together as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, do you got a website or something like that, or? Yes.
It's my herbal teas website, and it's called timeformeteas.co.uk. And it's just it's not the number 4, it's the word. So time and then for me and then TEAS.
TEAS.
And yeah, so I'll have a shop on. Yeah, that's it.
Dot UK. Dot UK, right?
.co.uk.
Dot .coda?
Yeah. So yeah. .co.uk.
And that information she'll send to me, and I'll send to you guys too also. So
yeah, you all will definitely, if you want to learn if you want to learn more from Kate or talk to Kate, like we said, we will have her website and her information on our website. You can just go check that out. If you got any questions or anything, they can email you, right, Kate?
Sorry, say again.
They can, if they got questions or any questions about herbs or whether they can email you or on your website.
Yes, they can. There's on my website. If you go to the shop on my website, there's a contact form on the shop page, and you can send a message to that. Or alternatively, I'm on Instagram, which is just @timeformeteas on Instagram, and I've checked that several times today. So that's probably the easiest way to have a chat. It's on the Instagram messages.
Okay, and you said dot what UK?
.co.uk.
Can you spell that?
co.uk.
CO.
Yes, co.uk.
Co.uk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. We learned a lot about herbs and the healing properties of herbs and stuff like that. It was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, it was so amazing. Thank you, Kate.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for joining us for this episode of Infusion, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, aka Supplement Power Man, and I'm here and with Rach. And Rach, you want to close us out?
Yeah. So you guys, history is born on lines of hate. On here, we're trying to build lines of love and trying to make you guys your best advocate. Kate, again, thanks for joining us. If you guys like this, subscribe. And Chris, close us out.
Thanks a lot for joining us for Infusion, the podcast. Take it easy.